Whoa. All right, so we are back in Yosemite for the first hike of the day. We're doing Taft Point, and it is actually the first time on this entire trip where it has been cold enough that I've been wearing a sweater, but this is supposed to be...
It's gonna get warm. I think we'll warm up.
It's supposed to warm up pretty quickly, but do you guys have anything to say before we get started on the hike?
This is the first time I've worn a full shirt all trip.
This is the first time I've worn pants all trip.
You're not wearing pants.
All right, let's get started. Okay, so we are in an interesting situation with this hike.
Look at my shoes. I picked good ones.
We're really putting our lives on the line.
Good job.
Thanks, bud. Oh.
Okay.
Now where's the trail?
So we've made it to the top of our first hike, which is Taft Point. If you get vertigo from heights, you may not want to come up here because this is one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. Like, I think we're at 3,000 feet right now, and I think like immediately below us is sea level. I'm not gonna get any closer, but this is definitely quite the vertical incline, even compared to any ski mountain I've ever been on. It's really insane. We have a lot of selfies going on over here.
No, we don't want him to be high above us, otherwise it's
Some in our group are partaking as well.
It's so cute.
Okay, so we're coming back from the Taft Trail. First part of this hike, it's not immediately clear where the trail is because there's still snow on the ground. And so I think we came a slightly different way than we were going back. So we're trying to figure out how to get across this river right here.
I'm chicken.
Okay.
I'm chickening out.
You're going the stick way? Wasn't that easy? All right, so we're back at the parking lot post-hike. What difficulty level did you guys think that hike was gonna be?
easy. Easy, and it was.
Okay. I guess the better question is, how many stream crossings did you expect?
0.
And how many did we get?
1. 2.
2. Well, we have to count going there and back.
Oh, then 3.
3?
4 maybe, because of the mini ones.
Okay, all right. Yeah, there you have it, guys. Fun times. All right, we're now on a bit more of a well-known adventure, and we're heading to Glacier Point to check out some glaciers.
And have some lunch.
And have some lunch.
I don't think there are glaciers.
There's no glaciers.
No glaciers.
Whoa. Okay, so we are on to our second hike of the day. This is Chilnwana Falls, I think. I may have butchered that pronunciation, but trying my best here. And we are hanging in there. Honestly, doing 2 easy hikes is a lot to ask for on a day after you've run a half marathon, but I am incredibly privileged to be here, and I want to make the most of it. And it's only a mile round trip, so let's check it out.
Go ahead of me if you want to go further.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Nice little shower. Okay, we just saw a very cool waterfall, but I just noticed on the map that this area really isn't advertised in the national park map. And we also passed by a bunch of residential areas. I think that over there is actually a house. So what I'm wondering is if Yosemite just doesn't really want to advertise this area because they want to keep it more local. Like, we actually only found out about this hike because someone marked it on Google Maps, but it was really cool to do. And it's pretty cool that you can just kind of find a waterfall randomly just by a Google search. So the rest of the squad sadly had to head out because they have work tomorrow. So I'll be on my own for the next couple days, but it's still only 1:40 p.m. So I'm gonna try to check out some more chill aspects of the park before the sun goes down. So just finished up in Mariposa Grove. That was honestly not the hardest thing in the world, but given, you know, doing the half yesterday and sitting or hitting 2 other sites already today, I'm pretty exhausted. I'm gonna go back to the valley for a hot sec just because, like, I only have 2 more days here. Tomorrow might be a pretty big day, so I'll try to keep it pretty easy, but feeling pretty tired, but it comes with the territory of doing something like this. All right, so before leaving Yosemite, I had to meet up with the one and only Alex Conrad, who, outside of ranking peaks during the winter, actually has a very special responsibility over the summer. And do you want to tell people what that is?
Yeah, my job is selling things and asking questions in Yosemite Valley.
Yosemite Valley?
Answering questions. Yeah, so I work in the village over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a national park worker on this ranking team. So he is going to give me the lowdown on the village, and we're gonna maybe do dinner and check out some more waterfalls that hopefully don't require that much, if any, hiking. Okay, Alex, so I have a question for you. I met up with you where I did because I was supposed to meet you at the Yosemite Valley Visitor Center, Welcome Center.
There is no visitor center anymore.
There's no visitor center, which I think threw me off because on Google, I think there is a visitor center. Let me double check that.
Yeah, the Exploration Center is marked as the visitor center on Google. They changed names in, I think, 2023.
Okay, weird. Yeah, Yosemite Valley Visitor Center is on Google, but so I was trying to visit you at the Welcome Center, and I could not find it. So how did I go wrong, and how could I have gotten there correctly?
Yeah, so there are a few crossovers in the valley. When you're heading into the valley, there's a bunch of signage, and all of it is too late. So there are always people at intersections waiting for a gap to move over to the other one. That always happens at the intersection next to Bridalveil Fall, where, like, if I'm in my lane and I see someone like right in front of me, I will slow down because I know they will change lanes. And it happens every day without fail. So there are a lot of those intersections, and the signage isn't until, and a lot of them isn't until like 100 feet before the intersection. So
so they need to improve their signage.
Yeah.
All right, so I just finished up after the first post half marathon day in the park, and I think I might have bit off a bit more that I could chew in terms of decision making tonight. So initially I was going to go find a place to sleep in my car, and then I pulled over on the side of the road, heard a couple of cars pass by, realized that was crazy, and that I didn't do enough research, and so I last minute found a motel, and I am staying in Groveland overnight. I gotta be honest, I did do a little bit of, back and forth about where to stay, and kind of made this last minute decision. Would not say it was fun to do this, and I really just think I need some sleep. Yeah, hiking today and doing the half yesterday, and only getting 7.5 hours sleep that night after having a beer. I don't think I'm fully well rested, so I think getting a real bed to sleep in was probably the right move. I will have an early day again tomorrow, so I think getting some rest before that is going to be incredibly important. Before I go to bed, there is one thing I want to show you guys. So I will be totally honest with you all. I've been struggling with something, and that has been uploading my footage to the internet. So a lot of these vlogs are actually going to be they are going to be delayed by several days, because the internet out here is just absolutely terrible. At this new hotel, I did try to upload the footage from... I'm behind by 5 days at this point. And we have a new record for what I believe is the longest estimate for time to upload. So I think it's probably about 3 to 4 months. Okay, sorry. I just needed to double check myself on this and correct myself, because I was completely wrong on that. So that estimate would actually be closer to 3 years. Okay, finally up after a good night's sleep. Heading back to Yosemite for one last day. Let's hit it. So back in Yosemite Valley, and I think I gotta say, just getting out of the car and stepping into the air here, I think improved my mood by maybe 10 or 20 notches. I'm here again with the Yosemite expert, Alex Conrad, and we're going to do the Mist Trail today.
Oh yeah.
And
absolutely soaked.
Yeah. And what are we bringing on the hike?
We're bringing water. I got food. I got a first aid kit, sunscreen, all that. I also have a rain jacket.
Yeah.
In case things turn.
How likely do you think it is that a bear would actually break into my car?
Do you have food in there?
In the trunk, maybe?
It's not likely, but the possibility is not zero.
I have Trident chewing gum in there.
Okay, they will eat chewing gum, but they will go into other cars before they go into yours.
Oh, great.
So,
okay. One more thing. How long is this trail going to be?
It's, I believe 7.4 miles, 2,000 feet of vertical.
Okay, so Alex and I just finished up on the Mist Trail, and we are now going our separate ways. That was a really cool trail, and we're going to have a video out on it, probably on the National Parks channel in a couple months when that launches. But a couple of interesting things about that experience. I did not bring my spare GoPro batteries with me, so they were in fact sitting in the car the whole time. I realized this about a third of the way up when I only had 40% battery left, so that was a whole experience of trying to figure out what to do to actually capture this whole video. And so luckily I had my phone, and it turns out that when it comes to filming hiking stuff versus skiing stuff, I think, with hiking, it's easier to film with a phone than it is with when it comes to skiing. So I switched to my phone for a lot of the footage, and really only tried to use the GoPro for the wide angle stuff that you need just to get some of this content. We cut it very close, and my GoPro died right at the end of the hike back down, and my phone ran out of storage basically at the same time. So thankfully for the last part of the hike, Alex had his phone and we were able to use that to finish out the video. But I probably will be more prepared next time. Yeah, so another thing is I was originally going to spend a couple more hours in the park and head to this place called Hetch Hetchy. But I've decided I'm gonna skip it. The other thing that is important to get comfortable with for building this type of business is delegating. Alex is going to be here for the next 4 months. He is going to be the lead writer for the review of Yosemite. He is more than capable of integrating the Hetch Hetchy and Half Dome parts of the review into the analysis. I think in terms of building a business like this, it's pretty easy to want to have ownership over everything, but in order to scale, it's important to, once you find people who are good at what they do, delegate to them. And it's not something that comes intuitively, but it's something that's needed for you know, like the long-term trajectory of peak rankings and the national parks part of the business as a whole, to leave it to some of these other very talented guys.